Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the next system which is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So now let us learn about renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So in renin angiotensin aldosterone system, here first we have liver. Okay, the liver produces the enzyme angiotensinogen. This angiotensinogen is a plasma alpha 2 globulin. So this angiotensinogen, in the presence of the renin, this renin is produced by JG cells of the kidney, juxtaglomerular cells of kidney. So this renin converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1, which is a decapeptide. This angiotensin 1, in the presence of angiotensin converting enzyme or kininase 2, it gets converted to angiotensin 2. Now this lung gives this angiotensin converting enzyme or kininase 2. This angiotensin 2 is actually an octapeptide. So this angiotensin 2 acts on the angiotensin receptors, and it causes vasoconstriction, sodium and water retention, and it also causes aldosterone secretions. So this is the main pathway by which angiotensinogen production and action. Now this angiotensin 2, how does this act? Angiotensin 2 activates angiotensin 81 receptor, which is actually a G protein coupled receptor. So it couples with GQ protein, and this will activate phospholipase C. So when it activates phospholipase C, this will convert phosphoinositol triphosphate to inositol triphosphate. So phosphoinositol phosphate to inositol triphosphate. Now this inositol triphosphate activates diacylglycerol. This diacylglycerol activates protein kinase and increases the cell growth. Then it also causes catecholamine release, leading to, when catecholamines are released, this will cause vasoconstriction. Then this diacylglycerol also increases the calcium release, thus causing myocyte light chain kinase, which will activate vasoconstriction. This myosin light chain kinase also causes smooth muscle contraction. So these are the important points about angiotensin 2, the action of angiotensin 2. Now we will have to learn about the drugs which are acting in this pathway. So now this renin is inhibited by renin inhibitor, which is aliskiren. Then we also have angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Then we have angiotensin receptor blockers, which will block AT receptors, that is angiotensin receptors. Now then we have to learn about renin inhibitors. So in the renin inhibitors, first we have aliskiren, analkiren and remikiren. Aliskiren, analkiren and remikiren, these aliskiren is only one used. All of these have poor oral bioavailability, so they are not used much. Aliskiren is the only one used. Side effect of renin inhibitors are it causes hyperkalemia and diarrhea. Then we have angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors include captopril, lisinopril, ramipril, moxapril, quinapril, perindopril, trandalopril, then benazepril, then we have fosinopril, and finally we have enalapril. Okay, so all of these are prodrugs except captopril and lisinopril. So all of the ACE inhibitors are prodrugs except captopril and lisinopril. All are excreted by kidney. Except moxapril and fosinopril. Moxapril and fosinopril is not excreted by kidney. Right, so this is safe in renal failure. moxapril and fosinapril is safe in renal failure. Now if you see the side effects of ACE inhibitors, so we will see the side effects of ACE. One more before that, we have enalapril, which is also an ACE inhibitor, which can be used IV in emergency situations. Now the side effects. In the side effects of ACE inhibitors, they can cause angioedema, which causes swelling of lips, mouth, nose and larynx, and it can cause cough. Most common side effect is cough. And there is also ACE inhibitor, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors will inhibit angiotensin converting enzyme. Normally angiotensin converting enzyme converts bradykinin to its metabolites, but because of this inhibition there is increased bradykinin. So this increased bradykinin is the main reason for causing cough. Then we have it can also cause hyperkalemia. Orthostatic hypotension can occur, and the other side effects like cholestatic hepatotoxicity, dysgeusia, where there is alteration of taste sensation, are seen in angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Next, it also cause other side effects like granulocytopenia, especially neutropenia is also associated with this. Right. Next we have to learn about contraindications of angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensin converting enzyme contraindications are bilateral renal artery stenosis, pregnancy and hyperkalemia can occur. So in all these conditions, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors are contraindicated. What are they? Renal artery stenosis, pregnancy and hyperkalemia. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors are contraindicated. Uses: they are used as drug of choice in hypertension and diabetes mellitus. They are used in chronic kidney disease in order to decrease proteinuria. They will decrease proteinuria, so they are used in chronic kidney disease, and they are used in diabetes mellitus without hypertension. Diabetes mellitus without hypertension, we can use these ACE inhibitors. Next, ARBs. In angiotensin converting enzyme angiotensin receptor blockers include losartan, telmisartan, valsartan, candesartan, irbesartan, and we have olmesartan. Okay, first we have losartan. Losartan is has the shortest half-life of around 3 hours. It is uricosuric, and this losartan is preferred in gout patients. Then this losartan is platelet anti-aggregant. Then we have telmisartan. Telmisartan has longest half-life of 24 hours. Then we have candesartan. This candesartan has highest affinity for angiotensin 1 receptors. If you see the affinity of angiotensin 1 receptors, candesartan followed by irbesartan followed by telmisartan. Then we also have PPAR gamma activators. So these include telmisartan more commonly than irbesartan more than losartan activates this PPAR gamma. Then this will also increase the insulin sensitivity. Now let us learn about the preferred drugs in hypertension. So if you see the preferred drugs in hypertension, drugs like angina, in angina or post-MI, beta blockers are preferred. In congestive heart failure or left ventricular failure, ACE inhibitors or ARBs or loop diuretics are preferred. In diabetes mellitus or diabetic nephropathy, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blockers are preferred. Bronchial asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, calcium channel blockers are preferred. In hypertensive emergencies, sodium nitroprusside or IV nicardipine are preferred. In BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, selective alpha-1 blockers are preferred. In pregnancy, methyl dopa and clonidine are preferred. Then we have the drugs which should be avoided. Drugs which are avoided drugs are, these include first, bronchial asthma. In bronchial asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and also peripheral vascular disease, non-selective beta blockers are avoided. Bronchial asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and peripheral vascular disease, non-selective beta blockers are avoided. In gout, thiazide diuretics are avoided. In sexually active males, diuretics and alpha-1 blockers are avoided. In hyperlipidemia, that is in increased cholesterol levels, thiazide diuretics and beta blockers are avoided. In diabetes mellitus, non-selective beta blockers, thiazide diuretics and also loop diuretics are avoided. So if you see, among all these drugs which are avoided, this does not mean that these drugs are contraindicated. We can give them in special circumstances, but sometimes we prefer to avoid them because of their side effects. But these are still being used. Now if you see the drug of choice, so one important thing is, if you see the drug of choice for hypertension is mainly thiazide diuretics are the drug of choice for hypertension, right? Now we have antihypertensive American Heart Association guidelines for hypertension, American Heart Association guidelines for hypertension 2007. Here, non-elevated, whenever there is in patients with non-elevated cardiovascular disease risk, the threshold of hypertension should be more than 140/90, maybe more than 140/90, whereas in patients with elevated cardiovascular risk, we call the patient has hypertension if their BP is more than 130/80. See, if in a patient with non-elevated cardiovascular disease risk, we call the patient to be hypertensive if he has BP of more than 140/90. And we also say that in the patients with elevated cardiovascular disease risk, if the patient has more than 130/80 threshold of hypertension, 130/80 of BP, then we call the patient as hypertension. Then both these patients, they should maintain the target blood pressure of less than 130/80. So these are American Heart Association guidelines. Now first line antihypertensives. First line antihypertensives are angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blockers, calcium channel blockers and diuretics are the first line antihypertensives. So if you see the age, if the patient is less than 55 years of age, then step 1 is you should give angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or ARBs. If the person is more than 50 years of age, step 1 is you should give either calcium channel blockers or diuretics. Then if the person is in the step 2, if the person is less than 55 years of age or more than 55 years of age, you should give angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors along with either calcium channel blockers or diuretics. See, among these both, in calcium channel blockers, diuretics, you should select one, and angiotensin converting enzyme should be angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor should be combined with one of these and we can give it. And in step 3, even if after using these two drugs, if the BP is not controlled, then we give a 3-drug combination of angiotensin converting enzyme, calcium channel blockers and diuretics. Then in step 4, even after using all the 3 drugs, if the BP is not controlled, then we call it as resistant hypertension, and here we combine angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors with calcium channel blockers with diuretics along with alpha blockers, beta blockers and vasodilators. So this is the important thing about the hypertension treatment. Thank you for watching.